In the morning sun where the flowers bloom, colors burst like a painter's dream come true. Roses red and violets blue, every petal whispers something new. From tiny seeds to trees so grand, every leaf and bird, it's all at hand. Hello, hello plant, welcome to the show, where every flower tells a story. Watch them grow. Hello, hello plant, in every shade and hue, for every heart and every hand, we've got something for you. Indoor greens and outdoor scenes, design your space, let your garden dreams glide. Personal touch with our garden design, free sessions to blend within your budget line. From tiny seeds to trees so grand, every leaf and bird, it's all at hand. Hello, hello plant, welcome to the show, where every flower tells a story. Watch them grow. Hello, hello plant, in every shade and hue, for every heart and every hand, we've got something for you. Now everybody, let's say hello, 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 hello.
Hi everyone, and welcome to our live Q&A. We do this every Monday, same time, same platforms as you are on right now. And this is pretty much a space for you to come with all of your gardening questions, whether you're about to start a new garden project and you want some tips on what to do with the design, if maybe you are having some issues with a plant, something that isn't growing the way you want it to, or just anything that you're curious about and you want to learn more. Just comment it below. The way it works is that I will ask the questions to Chris in pretty much the order that they're commented in. We only run these for about 30 minutes just because Chris has a lot of other things to do, and this is the only time that he can give to this live Q&A. So it's really important that you get your questions in as soon as possible. And yeah, so we can try and get into all the questions. We don't always get to every single one that we want, so that's why it's kind of like a first come, first served situation. So if you do have any questions, just pop them in the comments and I will be asking them to Chris. So how are you doing today, Chris?
Great. Looking forward to a challenging set of questions.
Exciting, yeah. If there's any that are particularly challenging or anything, you got a hi cousin there from Serena. I don't know if that's actually your cousin or if they're just saying that.
Good day.
Hey.
Hi, Serena.
All right, let's see. We got a question from Amy about how to get rid of snails.
Actually, do you know a really good way of getting rid of snails? And my mum was in the Ferny Creek Horticultural Society, and what they were using up there is they were using beer of all things to get rid of snails. And what you do is you get a sort of a bread and butter plate that's fairly shallow, have fairly shallow sloping sides.
I'm just going to quickly interrupt you, Chris. I just want to check, is the sound okay for everyone? If you guys could just comment a yes or a thumbs up, just so I know you are hearing me and Chris okay. Just because someone commented that there's an issue with the sound. Just here on Instagram, if anyone can give me a yes or a thumbs up if we are sounding okay and looking okay, that would be great. If not, I'm going to assume that everything's good if you want to keep going talking about the beer and the snails.
So getting rid of snails with beer, it's a great thing. What you do is you get out a bottle of beer, you drink most of it, leave a little bit in the bottom, and then you get a bread and butter plate and you tip the beer into the bread and butter plate, onto the bread and butter plate, and put it out under the trees or under the bushes where the snails are hanging out. And then what will happen is that the snails will come, and you sort of set it into the ground a bit so the snails can get up onto the plate easily. And what they do is that they go in for the beer, and they gradually get in deeper and deeper, and they're overcome by alcohol and lack of oxygen, and it actually kills the snails. That's one thing that my mum and her friends at the Ferny Creek Horticulture used to do. But I mean, you've got your snail bait is really, really good to get on top of them. And there's pet-friendly snail baits around now, so it's not so dangerous or terrible to put it out. So snail bait's sort of in a hidden little corner of the garden. Great idea for getting rid of them.
Amazing. All right. Next question is, can you get mop top trees in New South Wales?
You can. Most mop tops are grown in Victoria, so they tend to be more expensive and harder to get in New South Wales. But what's interesting is that there's different sorts of mop tops available now, and I'll just mention there's Acer globosum, which is a Norwegian maple mop top. There's and it has beautiful big maple leaves, lovely tight ball on top, no suckers or anything like that. Then you've got your silver birch mop top, and it's a lovely tight little head with beautiful little birch leaves on it and a fabulous white trunk. And then you've got your what's called your designer mop, which is your catalpa mop, and that has a great big leaf on it, like a big tobacco leaf or something like that, and it's all tightly layered together and beautiful, makes a lovely big ball. And the great thing about mop tops is that it's really good because when they come, they're normally grafted at 5 or 6 or 7 foot, and then you get the big head on top. So it's a way of getting almost instant shade. It's almost like putting an umbrella out in the garden. And most of your mop tops form quickly. You buy them, skinny stem with a small head, and in no time at all, you have a beautiful big head giving off shade and interest and a great sort of formal feature in the garden, like a pair of them on either side of the path or something like that.
Exciting. All right, next question is from Kylie. They are looking for a new potted plant for my front entrance. Morning sun, lots of shade, Bendigo location. What are some good options?
Actually, it's interesting. A mate of mine was saying to me how he loves Moonbay Nandinas. Now, and you've also got your lemon lime Nandina. Now, the great thing about them is that they grow into a beautiful round ball. Your Moonbay has a sort of reds and oranges and pinks and that on the leaf. And then your lemon lime is a beautiful sort of limey kind of a lemony colour. But both of those grow into a lovely round ball, love just a bit of morning sun, and they're very, very low maintenance and a bit of water, a bit of fertiliser, really easy thing to keep going, and that'd be your Nandina. Great plant in a pot, great plant out on the deck, and just with a bit of morning sun, no worries at all. And they grow about 45 centimetres round, so they're quite full and lush and easy to look after and look good all year round.
Great. And then we got Jasmine is starting a garden bed. Any flower recommendations?
Things that I really love are like catmint. Very simple, easy to grow, beautiful purple blue flowers, kind of like a sort of like a lovely soft little lavender. I love Shasta daisy. Shasta daisy is one of the brightest white flowers. Like when you put a Shasta daisy next to other white flowers, often they don't even look white. It's so white, it's fabulous. And Mona lavender, beautiful sort of autumn lavender flowers. And it's hard to beat some of your African daisies. Some of your African daisies have just got exquisite colours, and they're great because they just flower for months and months and months. So there's some nice ones for your flower garden.
Great. And then C asks, what could I plant under a golden book leaf? A golden book leaf? What can they plant under it?
So a golden book leaf, lovely soft golden colour, and I'm thinking sort of blues would be really nice. Like for instance, a blue convolvulus would cover the ground and have beautiful sort of soft blue flowers for probably nearly 6 months of the year, and a lovely sheet of blue flowers, and that would look beautiful under the sort of the soft yellows of your book leaf conifer, which is commonly known as a stumpy Joe or a golden biota. And when I was young, that was probably the most popular plant in Victoria. They're not quite as popular these days, but they're a lovely classic looking plant.
Yep. And then Alana's inherited some really dehydrated fruit trees, including a Caracara navel. Any tips on how to bring them back to life?
Well, I think this is a good time of year for reviving things. if they've been sitting around in pots, I'd repot them into a new pot, or if they're in a pot and they're ready to go in the garden, put them out in the garden. They love it. Dig a nice deep hole, mix plenty of good quality new potting mix through, top dress them with a nice dose of Osmocote. Power feed would be really, really good to lift them up a little bit. And then just a nice warm sunny spot. So just out nice warm sun, power feed, Osmocote, and plenty of nice loose fresh potting mix around them.
Great. And then Pablo asks, what can I plant in my garden? I live in Queensland and it gets full sun.
Queensland, I mean, Queensland's fabulous. You can grow all your tropical plants up there. And I reckon what I would do is that Queensland varies from, you know, town to town and things like that. And like I don't sort of do it so much anymore, but in my early days when I would go somewhere and I'd have to do a garden somewhere and I wanted to do the very best, I'd walk the neighbourhood. And so if you were to walk around the neighbourhood and take a photo, and these days with your camera you can actually identify stuff, and you went around and photographed the things that you saw that were doing absolutely best in your neighbourhood, what you're going to do, like consider your neighbourhood. People have gone and bought millions of dollars worth of plants in your neighbourhood and they've planted them. Some of them have failed, some of them have done terribly, and a few have done fabulously. And so you can benefit from that millions of dollars. You could consider it like they were just gardening, but you could consider it actual research, and you can go around and you can benefit from that. And you say, gee, that's done really well. That looks awful. That looks fantastic. That looks kind of good. And you can work it out, take photographs and things like that, and then come back and do your own garden fabulously by taking advantage of the learning of everybody else.
Yeah.
So when I'm in an area and I'm not sure, I walk the area.
Great. And then Megan would like to know recommendations for a fast-growing hedge to be planted in King Lake.
Okay, so King Lake's pretty cool. So you want something with a low growing temperature, and a couple of them, and half of King Lake's beautiful potato soil, and the other half is horrible clay. So let's imagine you're in the beautiful potato soil, which most people are. So a really good hedge up there would be your Photinia robusta. Photinia robusta, bright red new growth, white flowers in spring, wave after wave of bright red new growth. Loves that red potato soil, and doesn't mind the icy cold, doesn't mind a bit of heat in the summer, and if you give it plenty of water and plenty of fertilizer, really fast. I think you could buy a nice bushy 8-inch pot and have it up 2 meters tall in 12 months. So Photinia robusta, great choice. But say you didn't like, a lot of people don't like the red. Up there in that cooler country, you're going to do really well with sweet viburnum. And sweet viburnum, water and fertilizer, again, decent sized plant to start with, 2 meters in a year, no problem.
Great. And then next one is from Letica, asking for recommendations for a pretty colourful and flowering bordering plant for clay soil.
Okay, flowering colourful border plant. Something I love is your variegated society garlic. Variegated society garlic, it's got a sort of a grey-green and cream striped leaf, so beautiful multicoloured leaf, and then it has beautiful mauve flowers, sort of mauve with a hint of pink in them, and the great thing, it flowers for 6 or 7 months of the year, so you've got a lovely border of stripy foliage 12 months of the year, and then for around 6 months you've got beautiful mauvey pink flowers. So lots of colour, very tough, very easy to grow. Anybody can grow it almost anywhere, and that's variegated society garlic.
Yep. Then someone would like to know, is it too late to relocate my roses? I want to remove them from my garden bed to put into pots until I can choose a better location.
It is.
But is
I
it
reckon you're 3 or 4 weeks too late. Roses are really easy to move when they've got no growth or leaves on them, and they become very difficult to move as soon as they got leafy and green.
Yep.
It's funny, you can go into a nursery and you can buy a rose with leaves on it, pull it out of the pot and plant it, but when you do the sort of the serious mucking around of digging one out of the garden and sever the roots and things like that, they can last as little as hours when they're in leaf, and be really hardy and easy to do when they're not in leaf.
Yep. So would you recommend waiting until next year to do it?
Yes, definitely, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, you'd
cool.
have to.
Yep. All right. C would like to know if a mature mandarin tree is very bitter, how can you make it sweet?
Lime, compost. So that's so plenty of dolomite lime, even a pH test. So to get it up 6.5, and then plenty of compost, and you'll get a much sweeter tree.
Oh, interesting. All right. Next question from Narelle. What can I replace my magnolia tree with at the front which doesn't get much sun?
So there's some large growing pyrus that you can get that have flowers and colourful foliage, and another, or you could grow an Irish strawberry, or a lily of the valley tree. All of those seem to do quite well in quite a shady spot.
Great. Next question is from EMJ. Looking for recommendations for a small tree that flowers for a coastal garden located in partial sun.
In coastal gardens, I've been doing lots of cloud pruned olives, and they'll do quite. They don't need to be in full sun, like they maybe for good olive production they do, but just for producing foliage and looking attractive, they don't need full sun. And by clipping them into cloud pruning, you can keep them very, very small. So a cloud pruned olive, and I mean you can buy an olive that isn't cloud pruned and plant it there, let it grow a bit, then start cloud pruning it, and because cloud pruned olives can be a bit expensive and hard to get, but people can make them themselves very easily. And if you Google cloud pruned olive and look at the photos that come up, you'll be amazed at the beauty of them and how well they fit into a coastal garden.
And we actually did a video maybe a couple weeks back about a cloud pruned olive, and it was right across from the beach, and it looks really, really beautiful. So
Yeah.
if you want to look at the video quickly, you can go to our YouTube channel and just search up cloud pruned olive, and it should pop up. Or if you scroll back far enough on our Insta or TikTok, it should be somewhere there. We'll move on to the next question from Platypus. Do you sell diviners, sage? Is there a list of products available? Diviner's sage?
No, but we can have a look for that one for you. Yeah.
Okay, while I look at that, I'll ask the next question.
We have a service here called price and availability, and I'll put it in my price and availability tray, and it might take us a few days, but we'll see if it's available. We've got a couple of hundred suppliers, and if we can't find it, it pretty much can't be found.
Yeah. Next question is from G. I bought a pink lily. Can you please ask him if that's an inside plant? Is a pink lily an inside plant? Pink lily?
Pink lily.
Inside plant?
Under
you have
that
it
name,
indoors?
I don't really know it.
Let me look that up. Pink lily. No, definitely not the women's boutique clothing. Let's see. If you could provide a little bit more detail on that, G, just exactly what pink lily it is, because there is quite a lot of different types of pink lily.
There is a pink lily that's in the canna lily family, and they could be used indoors or outdoors. A lot of people buy them in flower, put them indoors on the kitchen table or something like that, and then when they finish flowering, they'll put them in a pot or put them in the garden outside.
Yeah.
And I think I'm just guessing that that's the one that you're talking about.
Yeah, they're not quite sure. They're going to quickly double check that name. So yeah, just get back to us, G. I'll make sure that I definitely ask your question again. And then Jasmine would like to know, how often do petunias need fertilizer?
Actually, what's interesting about petunias is that when they're young, say you buy some little petunias and you want to turn them into really big petunias, maybe you want to fill up a hanging basket or something like that, you can use a nitrogen-rich liquid fertilizer, something like a power feed. You could put it on them every week on the foliage, and they'll grow like crazy, but they won't flower that well. And then there's a fertilizer called Miracle Grow, and once you achieve the size that you want, you could then start doing Miracle Grow once a week, And Miracle Grow is low in nitrogen and high in phosphorus, and it causes things to flower like crazy. And so a program to get your petunias up big and then get them flowering like crazy, you could do weekly fertilizing of a high nitrogen fertilizer like Power Feed, and then you could switch to Miracle Grow, which is a high phosphorus, which will really actually stunt the growth and encourage flowering. So that would be based on a weekly flowering, a weekly fertilizing that would give you incredible results. But I mean, if you're just after average results, you could back off a little, you know.
Just Jimmy has a loquat and pomegranate trees, but they're not flowering or fruiting. Any advice?
Often those sorts of trees are grown from seed and they can take a while. I think be patient, because they're born to flower and born to fruit. Loquats in particular are very, very often grown from seed, and pomegranates as well. So it's quite possible you're dealing with seedlings which are going to take a few years to flower and fruit. If you buy grafted trees, they'll flower and fruit much more quickly.
Yep. And then someone would like to know if they can prune their Bouleja now. I have it in a garden bed, but it has many branches at the base of the plant that I would like to remove. Buddleja. Buddleja.
Yeah.
Man, these plant names are really tricky.
You can prune your buddleja whenever you want to. Your buddleja is probably just about to start flowering. You might let it have its first wave of flowers and then prune it. And buddlejas are great. They're a really fast-growing bush that produce lovely sort of long, almost lilac-type flowers that have the most wonderful, sweet, spicy fragrance about them and attract butterflies and all sorts of insects to your garden. So they're a really, really lovely plant to have, and they are something you need to prune, but I'd probably wait till after my first wave of flowering and then give it a good prune.
Great. We're going to go back to G's question because it's a peace lily, not a pink lily. So that was asking whether it's an indoor.
Peace lilies are outdoors if you're sort of up in Queensland, and they're indoors in Melbourne.
Okay.
So they won't. But they're a good, hardy, long-lived indoor plant. The peace lily has a big sort of white flower on it, and they have, you know, big green, floppy foliage on them. Very, very nice indoor plant.
Yeah, great. All right. And then next question is from Chloe. What is an ideal frost-tolerant tree for a school car park that will give shade but not damage cars?
Give shade but not damage cars. I reckon, and if you look on our website, we've rather cheekily got a magnolia called a Big Gem, or Exmouth magnolia, and it's a very strong growing evergreen that is going to be very, very sturdy, not drop much rubbish, beautiful, fast evergreen that will take massive frost. Plant it in the frostiest spot in Victoria and it will not be worried by the frost. So Exmouth or Big Gem magnolia, fast growing, big luxurious foliage, beautiful big white fragrant flowers, lovely spreading, beautiful shade tree.
Great. Next question is, what's a good feature plant in a 1.5 by 1.5 garden bed between a path and the house with midday to arvo sun?
Good feature plant. What would I like? Actually, what's about to flower now and make the most fabulous feature is your snowball bush. And snowball bush, very, very hardy. Trim it to size. Amazing big white snowballs just forming on snowball bushes all over Melbourne now. Really lovely thing to have. And then another really nice feature that you can buy quite cheaply and quite easily is a variegated Weigelia. Now variegated Weigelia sort of remind me of like strawberries and cream. They're beautiful sort of creamy foliage with beautiful pink flowers. And then as they go into autumn, you get multicolored autumn, like multicolored on the one leaf autumn colour. So lots and lots of colour from early spring right into winter time. So really beautiful, colourful, sort of mid-sized plant, not too big for that spot there, and a plant that doesn't mind a trim. So variegated Weigelia and snowball bush, and two things that are just coming into their own at the moment.
Beautiful. Next question is from Jasmine. I also just want to say that I'm going to be wrapping up probably in around the next 5 minutes. So if you have any pressing questions, make sure you comment them now so that they do get... Oh, Sorry, TikTok, hold on. Just got a phone call on the phone. All right, I think that should be all okay. Sorry about that. Love technical difficulties. Yeah, I was just saying if you want to have your question answered, just make sure that you get it in now. We'll start with Jasmine's question. My bougainvillea is losing color and leaves are going dry. Any tips? Is it lack of sun or water?
I reckon it's because it's a bougainvillea. And, and basically bougainvilleas are one of your, they have an off season and an on season. And all the bougainvilleas that I've got here at the moment, they have been looking terrible, but we're just starting to see some tiny shoots come on them. And another month or 5 weeks, they're going to be all leafy and nice, and then they'll start to have their flowers. So bougainvilleas have an off season, just be patient and it'll come back. As you see a few leaves, you might pop a bit of fertilizer on it, and if it's in a pot, you know, get it out in as much sun as you possibly can.
Yeah. Just Jimmy would like to know any advice about a queen of the night.
Queen of the night. We better look that up and see exactly. Is that the night jasmine?
Queen of the night. Let's see. Oh, let's see. That is, looks like that, if you can see from there. Michaelia?
Ah, Michaelia.
Well, that's Lady of the Night, no, not Queen of the Night. Maybe if you just want to give us a little bit more exactly what that is, Jimmy.
I'm going to guess a little bit, and I think you'll be talking about a night jasmine. Now, what was the question?
Just any advice.
Right,
about
okay.
it.
Night jasmine, it's a thing that has it flowers. Fragrance, flowers that are beautifully fragrant at night time, and so I guess the first bit of advice is to plant it somewhere where you might be able to smell it. Now they're quite at night time, so if you've got an outdoor deck area that in the warmer months you're likely to be sitting out there overnight, if you plant it not so much in a pot, but I find that they do much better in the garden. If you were to plant it in the garden near your sort of outdoor area where you'll be outside of a night time, that would be the go, or near a bedroom window, or you know, somewhere on the front path, some place where you're going to be able to sort of stop by and enjoy it at night time. And they and it's quite a large bush, so give it some space, and it needs a little bit of good soil. So dig a nice big hole, mix in a bit of good soil, a bit of water, a bit of fertilizer, and full sun is no problem at all. Very hardy, easy plant to establish. And the only thing is, you wouldn't plant it in a really frosty spot. It doesn't like really bad frost. But basically, put it somewhere where you can smell it. Dig a nice big hole, mix in some nice loose soil, water and fertilizer. Grows like crazy, and gives you that lovely night fragrance.
Great. And then we got from Chloe. Is it too late to prune my jacarandas in Queensland?
It's interesting. Jacarandas, down here they flower in December, and depending on where you are in Queensland, as you get further and further north in Queensland, there'd be places where, so basically what you want to do is you want to prune your jacaranda as soon as it finishes flowering. If you prune it hard before it flowers, you're going to lose a lot of flowers. As soon as it finishes flowering, it'll grow some more branches and things like that by next year, and then flower again beautifully next year. So as soon as those flowers are finished, now depending on where you are in Queensland, your jacaranda may or may not be finished, but as soon as it's finished, that's the time to prune it, so you've got plenty of flowers next year.
Great. Someone said in the comments that Queen of Night is a cactus. Does that ring any bells, or?
No, I don't really know. But a lot of cactuses do flower at night time.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
All right. Then we got a question from Catherine. What is a good evergreen tree I can put in my front yard to block the afternoon sun? They're in Melton, West Victoria.
It really depends how big a yard you've got, but a really, really good, easy sort of tree is a luscious, a water gum luscious, and that's a fast growing, and as it sounds, it's a luscious looking evergreen, big leafy, big beautiful green leaves, fast growing, easy to grow almost anywhere, and would certainly block out the afternoon sun.
Yeah, they were. I'm just looking at the Queen of the Night cactus. They were talking about definitely a cactus, and pretty much you want soil that's well drained, partial shade for sun exposure. Are you having issues with it, Jimmy, or what exactly are you wanting with the advice? Just how to grow it best, or is there any specific issues that you're having with it? It's native to Central and South America. Likes a pH level of 5.5 to 6.5, so kind of acidic. These are all the things that the Queen of Night cactus likes, and yet
Probably
blooms in the night
one of the
time.
most important things with the Queen of the Queen of the Night cactus is most cactuses come from sort of subtropical regions where you've got monsoonal rain, but only a small amount of it for a short season. So you sort of give them a wet season. So normally you have to give them a wet season and then follow that up with a real dry season. And that's what they've been designed to soak up lots of moisture during a wet season. And so the worst mistake would be to water them at a constant rate. So they need their wet season, then they need their dry season. And that's what cactuses have been designed for, and what you have to sort of create for them is that wet and dry season, and a little bit of fertilizer, during the wet season, and really let them dry out and dehydrate a bit in the dry season.
Yeah, because they're pretty much saying it's just not growing properly. A new growth falls off, and they're in East Texas.
Right. Right. Okay. So, I'd say get that. Read up on it a little bit, and get that wet season, dry season thing going, and you should be able to get it to go better.
Yeah. Good luck with that. Hopefully it starts growing nicely. I am going to, let's see, I'll ask 2 more questions and then I'm going to wrap up today's live, just because we're already going a little bit over. So second last question is from Jake. I'm looking for a unique looking gift/plant for a friend in Victoria. Low maintenance, any suggestions?
Actually, I'm just looking across the nursery at the moment, and we've got these fire stick plants. And fire sticks look interesting. They actually look a bit like a fire. They've got sort of long, they're succulents. They've got long, slender, sort of branch leaf sort of things. And they get beautiful oranges and reds and that on them. And they actually look a bit like a fire. So that's a fire stick plant, and that would be a very unusual thing. But something that somebody might really treasure would be a grafted maple, and we've got enormous, big, expensive ones, but we also have small ones in small pots, and you've got some of them are weeping, some of them are upright. They have all different types of leaves and foliages and things like that, and the thing is that you can get your weeping maple, you can plant it in the garden, it's going to last, or plant it in a pot, it's going to last you years and years and years, and they just get more and more exquisite and more as a treasure as they get older. So I think so there's your fire stick if you want something really quirky and unusual, or there's your grafted Japanese maple with interesting foliage if you want something that he'll treasure for years.
Yeah, we do sometimes have people watch us when we're doing our lives, Diana, because they're not quite sure what we're doing because we do it in the nursery. Last question I'm going to wrap up today is, sorry about all the noise. Do you guys, why did that pause? Hold on, sorry, give me a second, TikTok. There we go, you guys should be back. All right, lucky last question is, do you guys help design a garden if I brought in some photos?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, you need to do a booking though, because we're pretty flat. Particularly at the moment, we're pretty flat out doing lots of gardens. So you need to book ahead. Bring in some photos. I like photos and measurements, and and also you talk to the person you book with and work out if it's just a small front garden, a 20-minute one will do. If you want to do front and back, the last garden design I did just before I did this was a front and back, and it took a good 40 minutes. So
yeah, exactly. So just hop over to our website, Hello Plants, and under services is the garden design, and you can book through that, and yeah, we can help you design your garden. So I'm going to wrap up today there. Thank you everyone who came and asked their questions. We love answering them. We love helping out with people's gardens and plant problems. We run these lives every single Monday, 12 p.m, whatever platform you're on. And we tend to do a second live if we do have the time for it that's more topic specific. So we'll choose maybe a particular plant or a particular problem, and we'll kind of cover that in the live. We don't have any at the moment coming up, but the moment we do, we post about it on our socials, so you should be sure to follow us there if you're, and then you can hear all about what's happening there, plus, you know, all the sales going on, any other plant education, all on our social media. But for now, I hope you guys have a lovely rest of your afternoon, and see you hopefully next week.
Thank you, bye.
In the morning sun, where the flowers bloom, colors burst like a painter's dream come true. Roses red and violets blue, every petal whispers something new. From tiny seeds to trees so grand, every leaf and bird, it's all at hand. Hello, hello, plant, welcome to the show, where every flower tells a story. Watch them grow. Hello, hello, plant, in every shade and hue, for every heart and every hand, we've got something for you. Indoor greens and outdoor scenes, design your space, let your garden dreams glide. Personal touch with our garden design, free sessions to blend within your budget line. From tiny seeds to trees so grand,